Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a video and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Today, I'm privileged to have a very accomplished sitar player, musician, and a yoga person, Munmun Ghosh from Mumbai, with me on our show. Munmun, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh.
Thank
Really
you.
glad to be on the show.
Thank you. Munmun is a Mumbai-based artist driven to create beauty, benefit, and value in different media. As I mentioned, she's an author, journalist, musician, a yoga instructor, and delivers motivational talks. She teaches the sitar and gives recitals. She's a sangeet visharad in vocal classical music. She believes in the power of music to heal and to elevate the human spirit. And earlier, she has worked as a journalist with various magazines. So, Munmun, what would you say are three key milestones in your life or your career?
I think the first milestone would be my first childhood memory itself, which is that of my father, Dr. Munmun Ghosh, sitting and singing this Tagore song. I would just like to sing the first two lines for you. It's a patriotic song. আজি বাংলাদেশের হৃদয় হতে কখন আপনি তুমি এই অপরূপ রূপে বাহির হলে জননী ওগো মা তোমায় দেখে দেখে আঁখি না ফিরে তোমার দুয়ার আজি খুলে গেছে সোনার মন্দিরে ওগো মা.
Can you for our other listeners interpret it also? That's beautiful.
This is actually talking about the emergence of Bengal in 1905, as in a new identity.
Okay.
And he says that it was basically to inspire the Bengalis and to make them feel that this is a very, very beautiful country and I mean beautiful state at that point of time. And it is shining and it is up to you all now to make this really, really beautiful,
Wow.
and glorious.
Fantastic.
It's a patriotic song just meant to evoke enthusiasm.
I understand. Okay. And you're going to give me two more milestones?
Oh, yes, I was talking. So, well, this song, when I listened to this song, I think it stirred up my innate love for literature and music, which became my two lifelong passions and on which I've been acting to date. So in that sense, I think that's really the first milestone.
Wonderful.
The second one comes many years later, which is about 15 years back when I encountered Nichiren's Buddhism. This is, I was at a kind of an impasse and dealing with a difficult situation which I could not rationally resolve. And I'm an intensely logical person. And then a friend of mine who was chanting Namyaho Rengekyo, that's a basic chant.
Yeah.
She told me that why don't you give it a try? And I till then had not been practicing any form of regular prayers. I was aritualistic. And but I just said, why not? I mean, let's try faith. I had studied philosophy in my college, and believe me, all the philosophies, be it Western or Eastern philosophies, only aroused more questions in my mind for which there were really no answers.
Okay.
So when she said, try faith, I said, okay, as an intelligent person, I think that if you want to be happy, you need to try everything. And since it had no side effects, I started chanting Namyaho Rengekyo. And it was really amazing. 15 years later, I can definitely say that that chanting has empowered me, and it has made me a happier person.
Wonderful.
So the basic belief is this, that whatever we are suffering or enjoying at this point of time is a result of all our own karmas, by which I mean a thought, words, and deeds in past lives and in this life up to this moment.
Okay.
And the assurance is that when you start chanting, you start expiating for your negative karmas.
Okay.
And you will become happy in this lifetime itself. This is important.
Wonderful.
You will still get the effect of those negative karmas, but in a diluted form.
Okay.
So scientifically, what happens is this, I think, we all have divinity within us. Like as Vivekananda had said, man is potentially divine. So divinity is the Buddha wisdom, as we say. We all have it within us. But mostly, it gets covered by all our negativities, by varied emotions that we experience, our memories. So that wisdom kind of is buried. So when you chant every day, morning and evening, what you are doing actually is, in the process of chanting, you are erasing those negativities so that your own Buddha wisdom, comes up. And then when you take action based on that wisdom, your life starts changing.
Very nice.
So this was really really a milestone in my life.
Fantastic.
And the third one I would say would be my joining an advanced teachers training course in the Santa Cruz Yoga Institute 4 years back. Now, this was again a turning point because I had been practicing yoga in the sense of asanas and pranayams as people understand it mostly for almost 25 to 30 years of my life. I mean, as far back as I can recall, I've been doing the asanas and pranayams, But when I joined that institute, for the first time, I realized what is the actual meaning of yoga, which I'll talk later.
Okay.
And also, it exposed me for the first time to ancient Indian thought. We were studying passages from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And I was completely astonished, fascinated by the depth and the analytical rigor of ancient Indian thought.
Fantastic.
Everything is analyzed, causes of stress. The mind is analyzed into some 17 or 18 components. Everything. So, and I think since then, I have definitely been seeking to understand more of ancient Indian, thought systems.
Wonderful.
That has been hugely rewarding.
Fantastic. So, Munmun, I'm going to move a little faster because I'd like to cover a lot of questions with you. So, let's talk about your journey with music. Tell me about how you were initiated into the sitar by Pandit Karthik Kumar.
Okay. It's slightly funny because I have been singing since my childhood. My father, we are 3 sisters and 1 brother. So my father taught all of us Tagore songs since, when I was, I think, 4 or 5 years old. So at the age of 10, my father, very organized person that he was, he decided that my elder sister would, learn the sitar. And me and my younger sister, we would be singing. We would learn vocal classical because we had very good voices. And my brother would learn the tabla. So Pandit Karthik Kumar first entered our house. He used to come to our house to teach us those days. And when he came, he came to teach my elder sister. But as you can imagine, to children, one sitar is such a curious. We all wanted to play, and we all began playing it. But then as it happened, I think I picked it up quite fast, and somewhere along the way, the others dropped off. And when I was in my 9th standard, Pandit Karthik Kumar was organizing a very important concert called Ritu Sanghar, where he presented the different ragas, different seasons through different ragas. And I was chosen as the youngest artist in that concert at that point. There were 25 artists. So I remember we played on Doordarshan, then we did some shows in different places. And then it came up Polydor, Music India. So I think that was the beginning. And then after that, I went to Calcutta for 5 years, where I took training from very eminent musicologist, Pandit Ajoy Sinha Roy. And it was a very enriching experience. And then when I came back to Bombay, I joined Bharati Vidya Bhavan to do my sangeet visharad in vocal classical music. Because as you see, vocal is the basis for all instrumental music also. So I knew I had to do that. So I did that 5-year course. And when I was doing that, I was also playing sitar. I did some shows that time in sitar. So Ustad Azim Khan was teaching there at Bharati Vidya Bhavan. So I started learning from him also sitar.
Wonderful. And, so tell me, what is a sangeet visharad?
Okay, sangeet visharad is really a graduation course. It's like you become a graduate. So I would call it that kind of an equivalent. So it initiates you into the fundamentals of Indian classical system, which is a very highly evolved system.
Correct.
As you know, it goes back to the Vedas, Samaveda. So the ragas, each raga is a world by itself.
Okay.
You know. So to understand the ragas, you have to actually immerse yourself in each world, literally. Yeah? So Sangeet Visharad initiates you into understanding of a few basic ragas, not all, obviously.
I understand.
So and a rag, just to very simplify it for people, it means basically a combination of musical notes, and that is developed in different ways during a recital.
Okay.
So it's an extremely creative form of music.
Okay.
So I think, and at the moment I am, actually Sitar took a backseat for about 20 years when I was into full-time journalism. It became a casual kind of a hobby. But now in the last few years, I have again renewed it, and now I am in it for good, and I'm doing it full-time now.
Fabulous.
I'm taking guidance under Shri Pulak Lahiri at the moment.
Very nice. So, when I was reading about you, you also make a comment that you believe in the power of music to heal and to elevate the human spirit. Help me understand this. Help me understand this.
Okay. See, to put it very simply, what is the single most important cause of all diseases in the world? Stress. So when you are stressed out, it of course leads to tighter muscles, less oxygen supply to different parts of the body because your breathing becomes shallow.
Correct.
So what happens is, you do not process the food, all that you eat, toxins accumulate, and finally ending up as vyadhi, different kind of diseases.
Sure.
Okay. So music is the greatest de-stressor. The minute you start singing, you are completely rejuvenated almost.
Okay.
And it has been proven that music tones, they help concentrate life force. So any kind of chanting is extremely powerful because it increases your life force.
Okay.
And the fundamental power for overcoming any illness is a strong life force. So obviously music is going to help you heal, to stay healthy. I mean, and Indian classical music has been proven to relieve nervous tension and all psychosomatic diseases.
Okay.
It works wonderfully.
Wonderful. So Munmun, let's now move to the second part of our conversation, which is you as a yoga practitioner. For all our listeners and users who basically think that yoga is pranayama and asanas, help me understand what is yoga, and it is well beyond the asanas and the pranayams.
Absolutely.
And the whole concept of Patanjali's yoga is a very, very different perspective.
Yes.
So give me your view.
Yes. See, yoga to me means two things. First, to come to the origin of the word, it comes from the Sanskrit root yuj, which means to yoke or to unite. Now the question is, what unites with what? It means everything unites and you become one.
Correct.
So yoga, firstly, is a state. It's a state of oneness, of perfect harmony, of absolute concentration. So it's a state. The Bhagavad Gita says that samatvam yogaha uchyate. It means yoga is a state of maintaining mental equilibrium.
Okay.
The highest mental equilibrium, which doesn't get ruffled by all the ups and downs of life. So that is the state of yoga.
Okay.
I mean, in very secular terms, like if an actor is doing a role and the actor concentrates to the extent the actor becomes the role, that's yoga. In fact, even when I'm talking to you now, I mean, when I'm concentrating 100%, I'm in a state of yoga. Now, yoga is the state, but it's also a technique.
Okay.
It's how do you attain this state?
Correct.
It's also a technique to attain. Because as we all know, that the human mind is very difficult to tame.
Correct.
So yoga is a retraining of the human mind, essentially. It's an education of the mental self. And the ancient rishis had said that the human mind is as restless as a drunken monkey bitten by a scorpion.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So the yoga student
Hmm.
actually takes upon himself or herself the responsibility to tame this mind,
Wonderful.
to conquer this mind.
Hmm.
So because Patanjali, as he realized, I mean, when he wrote the Yoga Sutras, where he was actually recording the practice of yoga. It's not that he was enunciating yoga, he was recording it. So he understood that to achieve anything in life, you need a mind that is calm and that can concentrate.
Okay.
So even Ashtanga Yoga, which he propounded, is a technique to achieve concentration.
Okay.
So that you can succeed in whatever you're doing in life.
I understand.
So of course, asanas and pranayams are important. These are actually the third and fourth stage of Ashtanga Yoga, which is an 8-limbed system. Because asanas are important because asanas basically they promote good blood circulation, and they improve and strengthen our nervous system, which is very important, our nervous and hormonal systems.
Right.
So because if I am not strong in body, like if at this moment I'm in intense pain, I will not be able to concentrate. So asanas are needed for our strong body.
Okay.
Pranayams, of course, they are needed because they help us to steady the mind. This mind which I was talking.
Correct.
I personally believe that the greatest discovery of ancient rishis was that breath corresponded to thought.
Wow. Okay.
Because we cannot stop this incessant flow of thoughts in our mind. How do you stop it? But we can regulate our breath. Pranayam is regulation of the life force. Prana is life force. So we can regulate breath. So once I just start thinking about my breath, concentrating on my breath, like even at this moment, if I just take one deep inhalation, and if I exhale deeply, I'm at once at rest. The mind gets rest at once.
Correct.
Because the thoughts slow down. So you cannot slow down the flow of thoughts by yourself. But when you slow down your breath, then your thoughts slow down and the mind gets rest.
Very, very nice.
And also, when we inhale deeply, what happens? We are taking in more oxygen from the air. And when we exhale powerfully, we are throwing out more toxins.
Okay.
So that is why, deep breathing, anulom, vilom, these practices, they rejuvenate all the cells of our body.
True.
So in that sense, of course, asanas and pranayams are vital.
Very nice.
But you also need to follow the niyamas of yoga, which are very important if we are going to lead a happy life. The basic ones like saucha, cleanliness of mind and body, then and your environment, santosha, contentment. You have to be content with what you have. Tapa is a very important niyama of yoga, and which I think really needs to be followed. Tapa means practicing austerities. Simply to be hard on yourself.
Okay.
Because unless we are hard on ourselves, unless we do self-discipline, you cannot achieve anything in life.
Okay.
The fourth is swadhyay, that is self-study and study of scriptures, And finally, Ishwar Pranidhan, which is a complete surrender to the universe, to believe that this universe is benevolent and is working for your good.
Very nice.
So yoga, so this is the whole technique.
Correct.
If you follow, then you can achieve that state which we talked about, which is, that state of, equanimity.
Very nice.
So to me, yoga is all this,
Wonderful.
It's not just
Wonderful.
asanas.
So Munmun, I'm going to be running out of time soon.
Okay.
But I also want to talk to you about, your books.
Yes.
You've written several books. Tell me about your books.
Okay, I think that, as a writer, when I was writing those books, my main attempt has been to write about aspects of life, which are important, but which are not being talked about so much. So whether it was my first book, Hushed Voices, which actually gives voice to the underprivileged, the marginalized, classes of Bombay, who generally travel the local trains in second class.
Correct.
Then my second book was very interesting, Unhooked, because I was talking about an urban phenomenon called intellectual mating of the sexes. which I think is very much on, and which nobody really talks about. But I wanted to explore what that meant.
Okay.
And in my third book, Thicker Than Blood, I was dealing with infertility treatments, and what they really mean, because which is something that more and more urban women are going through silently, and it has a huge emotional cost apart from the financial cost and physical cost. So I was exploring the kind of the infertility treatments versus adoption debate to that book.
Okay.
And I think that's about it. At the moment, I'm not writing any book. The only book I'm writing maybe from time to time is Facebook at the moment.
Okay.
Because I think maybe that's what is being really read a lot.
Fair enough. So tell me, where are these books available? Are they available on Amazon?
Oh, yes. They are all available.
Okay. Wonderful. So now I have time for two more questions for you. And these are questions for you personally. So one more for someone who's an artist like you, who's been a journalist, who's a sangeet visharad, who does amazing amount of yoga. What does success mean to Munmun?
I think success to me really means, of course, achieving your personal goals, definitely, whatever goals you set. But essentially, I feel, I think you are successful if you spend your entire day, or at least the major part of the day, doing something that you really enjoy, that you feel creates value, irrespective of the kind of money that brings in.
Okay.
I mean, if you're doing a job that is highly paid, but you're not enjoying it at all, and you're doing it grudgingly, I wouldn't call you a successful person.
Okay. And my follow-up question to that is that who or what inspires you?
See, my first inspiration obviously is my my parents.
Correct.
Both my parents, they are no longer there in the world. I mean, Munmun Ghosh and Kamla Ghosh, they were just absolutely wonderful people. Extremely capable, considerate, and both of them gave and gave, not just to the children, to society. So they remain my prime inspiration. Besides Rabindranath Tagore, I have Tagore and Vivekananda are thankfully my legacy, So I definitely am inspired. But basically, in life, anybody I see doing some good work, any of my friend does some good work, I get inspired by it.
Wonderful.
I mean, even if I go to somebody's house and my friend makes a very good meal, cooks a nice meal and feeds me, and I get inspired. I said, great, because I definitely think that even preparing a good meal is a work of art, and I think cooking is a very, very, underrated kind of art form. So I get inspired by anything that is good, and that's, and then I feel like doing something good.
Wonderful. Very nice. So I'll be asking you my last question now, and this is one for the thousands of people who will listen to all this, good comments you made on the show today. This question is for all those young people who are looking at a senior individual like you, starting off their life as a young artist. What would your advice be to them?
I would say that, of course, pursue something that you really enjoy. This is very important. The first thing is that you must enjoy it.
Correct.
Do not take up something just because you feel this is in fashion, or this will bring money. No, do an activity, take up an art that really you enjoy. Because if you do that, then it takes care of a lot of things. Because then you will put in that riyaz into it.
Correct.
You're going to pursue it earnest. And I would like to actually restate something. Guraditya Mukherjee, he's a very good sitarist, and my friend told me once. There is no fun in doing anything without sincerity.
Okay.
So I think that whatever you pursue, whichever art, please do it sincerely. Give your 100% to it, and it is bound to yield results.
Okay.
You have to be patient. Be patient because it takes time. And you might feel that no, I cannot do this. But believe me, as an artist, a sitarist, I can say that I myself have broken so many barriers that I had in my mind about my own capacities. I felt I could not play this. I could play this much, but not. But when I started doing riyaz, especially today, I feel I'm breaking, each day barriers. In my mind, most important. It all comes down to the mind.
Wonderful. Munmun, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. I wish you lots of success in whatever you're doing.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It was a complete pleasure for me to be able to speak.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.